I've stated many times before that I think Sonic Colors is a great Sonic game. The gameplay is consistent throughout the entire campaign, the art style is really cool, the music slaps so much, the wisps are fun to use, it's just a fantastic experience across the board. For the Wii, I always talked about the console version of Colors when I talk about it, and never the version on the Nintendo DS, the big handheld of 2004. Truth be told, while this wasn't the first version of the game I beat, it was the first version of the game I played. I actually first beat this game quite recently. I thought since I spoke very highly of most of the Sonic games with the boost formula, and made a video on the 3DS version of Sonic Generations, which on a side note, that video was very successful for my channel, thank you guys. I thought it would be fun if I made a video regarding the DS version of Colors since this is the second Sonic game I've beat the alternate version of. This game is created by Dimps, the same team that made the Advanced Trilogy and the Rush Duology, and some other alternate versions of the Sonic Team games including Generations. In my opinion at least, this is certainly the best game released by Dimps, and is now one of my new favorite Sonic games. The only Sonic game with an alternate version that actually intrigued me out of all the ones I've played. Now obviously, it's best I explain why I feel this way, since I'm sure for some, it may seem like a bold claim. I hope by the end of this, it all makes sense. If you're new around here, consider liking and subscribing to the channel if this video was enjoyable to you. It's of course optional, and I wouldn't want to force it, but it would be nice if you did. As well, make sure to leave your thoughts on this game if you want to. Anyways, let's not waste any more time, and dive into Sonic Colors on the DS. I won't spend too much time on the story since it's pretty similar to the Wii version. The differences are the lack of voice acting and most of the cutscenes gone, but with better dialogue, better endings, and extra character interaction. It's a slightly better version of the story for Colors in my eyes. Getting into the gameplay, it is very similar to Sonic Rush. A 2D Sonic game with boosting gameplay and level design based on reaction-like pathways while still maintaining a healthy amount of platforming. There are the same amount of areas as there are in the Wii version of this game. Tropical Resort, Sweet Mountain, Starlight Carnival, Planet Wisp, Aquarium Park, Asteroid Coaster, and Terminal Velocity. Unlike Colors Wii, it follows the format of most 2D Sonic games where they have 2 main acts for each stage instead of the 6 acts in the Wii game. This is, in my opinion, a better way to handle it, due to the acts themselves being higher quality. I didn't mind the 6 acts in the OG game, but I will admit, a few of the acts in stages are damn uninspired on their own. Like the small platforms in Planet Wisp Act 4, and the straight path on the ring in Asteroid Coaster Act 4. Funny that they were both Act 4s. It doesn't happen all the time, but the times that it does make some of these individual levels stick out like a sore thumb. Some may argue that the game would be too short with only 2 main acts, but if the acts in question are longer than most of the acts in Colors for the Wii, and are maintaining debatably higher quality control, I don't mind it. Plus, it has some other things to make up for it, but we'll get back on that. With one exception, I couldn't find a single individual level that I didn't like. Some were less than others, but overall, the levels in this game are amazing. As said before, this game follows the gameplay style of Rush, and these level environments, despite not blending at all with the Rush games at all, they still do it justice. These levels have great pacing, being able to go as fast as you want, and slowing yourself down in any area that isn't a chasing sequence just feels so considerate for these, and I fucking love it. I also really like the set pieces here, like the rolling Ferris wheel in Tropical Resort, and the few waterfalls in Aquarium Park. They look nice for the standards of the DS. Getting into how we play in these levels, Sonic controls like he did in Rush, although the trick system was sadly removed. This might turn others off since it was a beloved feature from that game. While I do wish it was there too, I do think this game makes up for it with a few things. 1. There are white wisp capsules all around these levels, and given how much you can maintain it while also killing enemies, it wouldn't matter too much. 2. Sonic was given all the modern abilities like the stomp, wall jump, and the homing attack being on the jump button, all of which are great for boosting gameplay. 3. All of these levels are built without the trick system in mind, so it won't get in the way too much. The balance between speed and platforming is really good. None of these two overpowered each other, but I think this is something most games made by Dimps did well before this game. I can't say the same about most of the games they made after, but that's besides the current point. Point is, having a game that does this is very important. It not only did the bare minimum, they went all out. The pathways that can be found here are just nothing but neat. They sometimes act as shortcuts, and others just feel like completely different ways of playing the level. I know this game isn't the origin to that kind of level design philosophy, but I really do love how this game does it. And it's all helped by the fact that Sonic Colors has some of my favorite environments in the entire series. Because of that, I can appreciate this aspect of the levels more than I would with most Sonic games. Although, it is a positive that could be said about the Wii game as well. Like I always do, I'll go over the stages one by one, as well as the Wisps to give brief thoughts on them. Tropical Resort is a great intro level, teaching you the basics of the game while still leaving you more than enough room for replays. There aren't any Wisps you access aside from the boost one, and even then you don't get that until Act 2. This is for story reasons, so it's obviously not that big of a deal, but I thought I'd mention it. There's still a really good start to the game, not much else to say other than it gives us high expectations for the rest of the runtime. Sweet Mountain, I like it more here than the Wii. There are some areas where we do have to be on an air balloon, but we're able to skip through these with enough skill. The same can be said for the rocket sections, although different paths can be found with those. So it's up to you if you want to skip these. The food theme is well done here, since there's trampolines made out of Jello? Those are fun to stomp on. We also got loads of candy to run through, including some mild chocolate. And the cake-like ground is still here too, along with the construction ground. We also have our first Wisp in the game, Burst. You can hop around in thin air and even hold the X button for a higher and more explosive leap in the air. It's quite fun, and it complements this level very well due to having a lot of higher ground. A perfectly fun stage this one was. Starlight Carnival is also another fantastic one. This one doesn't do the theming as well as the console version, but I like the level design here a lot more. I still love Starlight Carnival in spite of the lack of in-depth 3D sections, but the version on the Wii not only had the third act of Bouncing Nightmares, it also had the weakest Wisps in the game, the Cube and Hover Wisps. In this level, we have the Rocket Wisp, and while not my favorite, I think this is the version of the Wisp at its best due to being the quickest and most straightforward. There's a lot of airtime and paths to be found with this Wisp, and I enjoy using it. I also enjoy this level, as it's more focused on giving Sonic the ability to maintain his speed constantly. I also love how both of these inside portions and outside portions get an individual focus on each act. Act 1 being inside, and Act 2 being outside. That's actually cool. The only parts I don't like are these tube transitions, and the parade at the end of Act 2. Act 2 in particular puts you at a disadvantage when you're at the middle. It's really annoying on repeat runs, but I think the level is excellently made overall even with those in mind. Planet Wisp is probably one of the weaker levels. It's not bad because the layout itself supports what I've been saying quite well. Clever paths to be found with skilled play, and routes that take you to completely different areas of the level are still good fun in Planet Wisp, as long as you are not using the Drill Wisp. Goodness me, this is upsetting. My favorite Wisp in the Wii console game ended up being my least favorite Wisp throughout the entirety of this game. The controls are terrible, the turning is sluggish as hell, and the shitty ass boost makes it even worse, and is overall my biggest issue with this level. The ending of Act 2, where you have to use it to quickly get away from the big monster chasing us, doesn't make things any better. The first act is quite good since it's mostly optional, and there aren't too many instances where it's necessary to speed through them. But in Act 2, it's used way too much. It's a shame too, because the layout of this level is great. If the Drill Wisp didn't suck and if Act 2 didn't use it to the extent that it did, it could have been amazing. But unfortunately, because those issues are there, it's just a fine level. It truly pains me to say that. Thankfully, the next two stages of the game more than make up for the last one. Aquarium Park has always been one of my favorite water levels in Sonic, and for the handheld version of Colors, it's even better here. This may honestly be my favorite level in the game, if not second. I absolutely love this damn stage. Both the land and water can be progressed through roughly the same amount of time. Even when I'm in water, it doesn't feel miserable. It's similar to another Great Water stage. Because of that, I do think the pacing is generally the exact same, even if Act 2 is a little harder. This is also where we use the Laser Wisp. Man, just look at him go. Because of it being pretty much the same as it was on the Wii game, it may be my favorite one to use overall, considering it's fast and extremely useful if used right. With the praises I gave to the general level design philosophy of this game, combining those with the praises of this level in particular, and you get what is, in my opinion, potentially the best level that this game has to offer. An amazing stage. The same can be said about Asteroid Coaster, as this one is also fantastic. Act 1 in particular being absolutely phenomenal, and a potential running place for my favorite stage as well. This stage makes the best use of the slide ability, as it's required to be mastered in order to get through some of these sections. It's also generally the most difficult level in the game, which is fitting since this is the level meant to be played last before Terminal Velocity. Act 2 is a little lesser due to its length of the stage, and the fact that the Void Wisp is hard to be precise within the stage from time to time, but I still think it has an incredible layout. It also feels more like a final level than the actual one. Though, since I spoke of Void, I might as well speak about it. In terms of fun factor, I think this one is second place behind the Laser Wisp. It's great to use it when it comes to extra paths and whatnot, but using it in required sections where it needs to be used precisely, it feels quite clunky. Once again, absolutely an awesome level, doing the theme a lot better than the original, as well as some of the gimmicks and set pieces. I just need to get adjusted to Void's handling is all. That's all I can say. Then there's Terminal Velocity. Yeah, this one is boring and it kinda sucks. Not too different from the original game, only a bit shorter. You're still going in a straight line with barely anything to make going through this stage even faster. It really sucks that this couldn't have been a set piece for the level, but instead the entirety of the level. I understand making it work with the story would technically make it harder, but I feel like it would have been better if given a shot at it. Overall though, a pretty damn good level roster for a damn strong Sonic game. The bosses are better than the Rush games and Colors Wii due to the pacing, and are actually fun at times, except Planet Wisp. The special stages are slightly easier than Rush, but it lasts longer. They're still fun, but I prefer Rush's way of handling it. The endgame, though, is definitely solid. After getting all of the emeralds throughout the special stages, which by the way the last one is locked behind winning a race, we get an exclusive final boss for this game. You'll get to fight the Nega Wisp armor like the original, but after the credits, there will be an event going on after you continue. Then you go to the top of the map, and then you get a cutscene where they speak of the Mother Wisp needing to be stopped. We then turn into Supersonic, and you get introduced to what is, in my opinion, the better of the final bosses between both versions of Colors. It's simple, but effective. You have to knock out each of the arms with the rocks, and the timing is quite precise. After you do that, you have to charge to the top center. While doing this, you have to dodge numerous obstacles, including the laser and fire. Press I to hit the precise spot. Do this process 3 times, and you will win. It has a nice bit of challenge to it too for the first time player, and you actually get enough time to listen to the track. An amazing rendition of Reach for the Stars, even though it's a little lesser compared to the Wii game. That could be said for the game as a whole though. Colors' soundtrack is top 5 in the entire series, both on Wii and DS. The game presentation-wise is a good-looking DS game too, but that's a given how the framework is based off of Rush. That's about it for this game though. Planets and wisps are gone after the mother was brought back to her brightest, and you can collect the red rings you missed throughout the stages as well as the highest ranks. Play the extra missions and play some extra available modes to be found within the simulator. Now, I said in the title that I believe this game to be the best that Dimps has made. In spite of that, I never outright stated why. I just thought something like this was best suited for the end. Getting into that, while I do think the Sonic Advance series did grow on me, I personally think these games still had issues that made them more problematic. The screen crunches handled worse due to being on the GBA, and the Chaos Emeralds were all a pain in the ass to get in all 3 games. This wouldn't be an issue if the level design wasn't so harshly designed over half the time, causing you problems with direction. These would be more acceptable in 2D games with better screen viewings or 3D games in general. People nowadays are gonna have a hard as hell time getting into these games, unless they played them over and over when they were young. No shame, by the way. Because of the ways getting to the special stages either involve exploring for the special stages or items to access them, 8 times out of 10, these will lead to more frustration within the levels than they needed to have. With Sonic Rush, the screen crunch was handled a bit better due to not being as close to the screen, and had way better special stages as well as to access them. With that said though, this game and the advanced games have terrible bosses, with them having you to wait a long time to hit them. Rush also has altitude limit and Act 2 of Deadline, and these are the worst stages in the game in my opinion, due to the screen crunch still being mediocre, the harshness of these stages being more so than the advanced games in certain areas, due to these two being the last stages in the game, and the gimmicks in general being not that fun to me. Rush Adventure did a better job on balancing the stages as well as making them more consistent. They also had better boss fights due to the waiting periods being less, and the attacks showing fair challenge. Those are nice and fun, but Rush Adventure had the sailing mechanic. I don't hate this as much as I used to, but it did give the game worse pacing than the original Rush, as well as worse special stages due to having to find them around here. With the alternate versions of Unleashed, Generations, and Lost World, it took a lot of what made the main versions of the games fun, and made them less fun in many ways. Whether making the controls worse, making the levels more uninteresting, or both. It makes the game average at best, and straight up terrible at worst. With this game though, the only things I outright disliked were very minor, like Drill being less fun, Terminal Velocity being too short, and locking Special Stage 7 behind the Rival mode. None of these were game-breaking. I think the levels and bosses are balanced like Rush Adventure, the campaign is very straightforward like the original Rush, and there wasn't any moment in the game that outright got in the way, aside from Special Stage 7. The game is also very comparable to the console colors, since I think in a lot of ways it's better than that game for not having the small issues that it had, while having more appealing level design focus than it as well. I think Sonic Colors DS is filled with 2D Sonic excellence and is the best boosting gameplay has ever worked in 2D. An incredible game all around. My favorite game made by Dimps, and my third favorite boost game. And with that said, it's time to move on to the end of the video. Hey, it's me, Fred/Caleb, if you remember that name from the beginning of the year during my face reveal. Thank you all so much for watching the video. This video was a lot of fun for me to make. I wanted to make this video with a lot of effort because this became one of my new favorite games for the franchise ever since I did play it, and as much as I am enjoying the other games that were made by Dimps, like the advanced games and Rush games, this one has always been the one that I enjoy coming back to the most. With all that said though, this is going to be the last Sonic video, at least for a while. I've been posting a lot for this franchise as of recent, and I haven't been focusing on a lot of other stuff aside from that I almost said Forsaken MR. Aside from that FNAF MR video that I posted. The next video that I will be posting on the channel will be a review, but not on a Sonic game, a FNAF game. And that game being Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Goodness me, that is gonna be quite the troublesome review, because if you remember from my Help Wanted video, I said I didn't like the game. But will my opinion change? I don't know. I don't think it will, but I am willing to experiment. With all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great night. Take care. Subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot. And yeah, see y'all later.